Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US President Donald Trump launches Board of Peace with many global leaders on board in Davos. US President Donald Trump says won't use force in Greenland, takes a step back over imposing tariffs on European countries after talks with NATO Secretary General. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar interacts with ambassadors of European Union countries, discusses India-EU relations ahead of 16th India-EU Summit. US President Donald Trump has stepped back from threats to impose tariffs as leverage to seize Greenland, ruled out the use of force and said a deal was in sight to end a dispute over the Danish territory. In a post on his social media site, Trump said he had agreed with the head of NATO on a framework of a future deal on Arctic security, potentially diffusing tension that had far-reaching geopolitical implications. Trump said Western Arctic allies could forge a new deal that satisfies his desire for a Golden Dome missile defense system and access to critical minerals while blocking Russia and China's ambitions in the Arctic. The announcement came hours after Trump's Davos speech, where he repeated that US needed Greenland for national and global security and said NATO members could agree to US control and will be very appreciative. Trump told reporters after emerging from a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte that the long-term deal will make everybody happy.
People jumped at, really fantastic for the USA, gets everything we wanted, including especially real national security and international security.
How so? Can you give us some details, please?
Well, the deal is going to be put out pretty soon. We'll see. It's right now a little bit in progress, but pretty far along. It gets us everything we needed to get. It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. And I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
Meanwhile, Rutte said that he had not discussed the key issue of Danish sovereignty over Greenland in his meeting with US President Donald Trump. He also shared few details about the supposed framework for the deal announced by Trump after his talks with the NATO chief. Only hours after his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, US President Trump announced a deal on Greenland. Lars Halter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Hi Lars, what's the latest that you're tracking?
Thanks for having me. Well, that was a surprise when Trump took to his social media site to announce that, quote, based upon a very productive meeting with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed a framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. He said that that solution would be a great one for the United States of America and that, again, I quote, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Now, there are no details out on the deal, but much points to Denmark keeping Greenland and allowing the US to increase their military presence there. However, that had always been an option according to a 1951 deal that gave the US those rights. There are rumors that Denmark might sell the US the few acres that the actual military bases would sit on, but that is not yet confirmed.
So how significant was the speech for the World Economic Forum and its future, Lars?
Extremely significant for sure. However, it remains to be seen whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Early on, even before Trump spoke, people were arguing over whether Trump made the World Economic Forum relevant again, simply by being there, by bringing the largest US delegation ever to travel to Davos. One should know that once Trump confirmed his trip, lots of major players, AI giants like Palantir or Snowflake and other tech and crypto firms, they all quickly upgraded their presence, spending up to $500,000 each just to rent prime locations along the promenade to make the best impression. However, others, like political economist Mark Blyth of Brown University, said that Trump's impact here is his quote, the death of Davos, and that the forum had lost all relevance. And it's hard to deny that the forum has indeed changed. Its slogan might still be committed to improving the state of the world. But this year, all the events around climate change and social entrepreneurship were all but gone. It will be interesting to see where Davos finds itself a few years down the road.
All right, Lars, we leave it there. Thank you so much. And German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on Thursday welcomed US President's shift on Greenland and urged Europeans not to be too quick to write off the transatlantic partnership. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Merz said Europeans, especially Germans, value the trust on which NATO rests, warning that any attempt to seize European territory by force is unacceptable.
President Trump's remarks from last night. This is the right way because any threat to acquire European territory by force would be unacceptable. And new tariffs would also undermine the foundations of transatlantic relations.
US President Donald Trump on Thursday signed Board of Peace with the signing ceremony attended by close to 20 countries at the World Economic Forum 2026 in Davos. During this, US President Trump said that Iran wants to hold talks with the United States and that Washington was willing to do so. Trump also recalled that the United States had struck Iranian uranium enrichment sites last year to prevent Tehran from making a nuclear weapon.
Obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity with Operation, we call it Operation Midnight Hammer. It was midnight, it was dark, no moon, and every single one of those bombs from the B-2 bombers hit the air shafts and went deep into the earth and totally obliterated everything that they were doing. They were 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And Iran does want to talk, and we'll talk.
India and the European Union have agreed to sign a new security and defence partnership. The announcement was made by EU's Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas ahead of the 60th EU-India Summit scheduled to take place in New Delhi on Tuesday. Kallas asserted that Europe is ready to deliver on a powerful new agenda with India, part of which includes expanding cooperation in areas such as maritime security, counter-terrorism and cyber defence, and signing of India-EU Free Trade Agreement too.
To conclude negotiations on the EU-India Free Trade Agreement. This deal will open markets, remove barriers and strengthen critical supply chains in clean technologies, pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. Second, today we agreed to move forward with the signature of a new EU-India security and defence partnership in areas like maritime security, cybersecurity and counter-terrorism. We will also launch negotiations on a security of information agreement. In a more dangerous world, we will both gain from working closer together. We also intend to conclude a memorandum of understanding on comprehensive framework on cooperation on mobility. This will facilitate movement for seasonal workers, students, researchers and highly skilled professionals while promoting research and innovation.
Kallas said the two major democracies must cooperate more, especially in the changing, unprecedented world order, stressing that India, EU have renewed political momentum and with clear sense of purpose.
The EU and India are moving closer together at the time when the rules-based international order is under unprecedented pressure through wars, coercion and economic fragmentation. Two major democracies cannot afford to hesitate. We must become more ambitious partners.
Kallas also said that Europe and India could help anchor stability in the Indo-Pacific.
In the Indo-Pacific and beyond, Europe and India can help anchor stability by defending open sea lanes, strengthening maritime domain awareness, and resisting coercion in all of its forms. Honourable members, this summit matters for what it sets in motion, a more ambitious, more operational EU-India partnership. We have an opportunity to turn political momentum into progress for our citizens, for our companies, our economies, and also upholding rules-based order on which our security and prosperity depend.
European Council President Antonio Costa and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will attend India's Republic Day celebrations as chief guests on January 26, with the India-EU summit scheduled for the following day. And 3 people have been killed in a shooting in the small town of Lake Cargelligo in Australia's New South Wales. The shooting has prompted a major police operation and warnings for residents to stay indoors. Police said 2 women and 1 man died at the scene, while another man was taken to hospital in serious but stable condition. Emergency services responded in the late afternoon, and local media reported the suspected gunman was still at large, possibly armed with a long-arm weapon. The incident comes just a month after deadly mass shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach, which left 15 people dead and led to swift national gun law reforms, including legislation enabling a national gun buyback and tighter background checks. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar interacted with the ambassadors from EU countries on Thursday. In a post on social media platform X, Dr. Jaishankar shared that he was pleased to meet EU ambassadors and discuss the world where volatility and instability are the new normal. He made a strong case for deeper India-EU relations to de-risk the global economy through resilient supply chains, provide public goods and development projects, and stabilize the global order through stronger trade, mobility and security partnerships. He also shared that he looks forward to welcoming the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, to India for the Republic Day celebrations. Let's take a look at other stories now, making news around the world. Indonesian authorities have seized more than 7,000 birds in Bali after intercepting an illegal shipment. The shipment included protected native species such as the Sangihe white-eye and the Sangihe sunbird. The Jihad Museum in Afghanistan's Herat, celebrating the victory of Afghan fighters against the Soviet occupation, has changed since the Taliban's return to power. Inside the building, a display made by academics at Herat University's art department recalls the suffering of civilians and the struggle for independence. Malaysia's AirAsia X is targeting between $500 million to $600 million in debt restructuring after acquiring the short-haul aviation business of Capital A. AirAsia X, the medium-haul affiliate of Capital A's AirAsia, plans to combine the firm's 7 airlines under one banner. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Ministry of External Affairs issues statement on the trespassing at the Indian Embassy premises in Zagreb.
Every time I open my wardrobe, I wonder how many of these clothes do I actually need? So today, let's step into a world where our fashion does not have to come at the cost of the environment.
We make sure that we don't waste a single piece of clothing. We use up all the scraps as well, gathering them into balls and making different products with them.
Consumers think that if they don't buy it now, they're going to regret it tomorrow.
Instead of having a linear thing where you produce something that never degrades and then you just end up having it in the landfill, you biosource it, you use it, and then it biodegrades and gets back to nature.
We use natural dyes for the garments. We extract the dye the way our ancestors did by using natural products with some modifications.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. At least 10 Indian Army personnel were reported martyred and several others injured after an army vehicle of the Rashtriya Rifles met with a fatal accident on the Baderwa-Chamba interstate road near Khani Top on Thursday morning. The vehicle was carrying 21 soldiers on routine high-altitude surveillance when it reportedly skidded off-road at an altitude of about 9,000 feet and plunged into a deep gorge. According to the Additional Deputy Commissioner of Baderwa, 10 fatalities have been confirmed, while 10 injured soldiers were airlifted to Command Hospital Udhampur and one remains under observation. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh extended his condolences to the families of the martyrs, ensuring that the injured soldiers are receiving the best possible medical care. Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, also shared his deepest condolences to the grieving families, expressing that the entire nation stands united in solidarity and support with the bereaved families. India's Ministry of External Affairs issued a statement on the trespassing at the Indian Embassy premises in Zagreb, Croatia on Wednesday. The MEA condemned the trespassing and vandalism by anti-India elements at the Indian Embassy in Zagreb. The statement recalled the Vienna Convention, stressing that diplomatic premises are inviolable in fact, and must be protected. India has stepped up its humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, delivering 7.5 tons of critical cancer medicines. Sharing this through the social media platform X, MEA said, India delivers 7.5 tons of life-saving cancer medicines to Kabul to address the urgent needs of cancer patients. India remains committed to supporting the friendly people of Afghanistan. The Department of Posts reviewed its Q3 performance for FY 2025-26 in New Delhi today, chaired by the Union Minister for Communications Jyotiraditya Scindia. India Post has set an ambitious revenue target of 17,546 crore rupees and has already achieved 10,155 crore rupees in the first 3 quarters, marking 8.2% year-on-year growth.
23-24 fiscal, we closed at 12,790 crores in total revenue for the Postal Department. As you're aware, we are looking at increasing our top line. We are today a cost center for Government of India, and we would like to ensure that India Post over the next 4 to 5 years becomes a profit center for the Government of India. We have got a target of 17,546 crores for the year, which means we are targeting a 30% increase in revenues in one fiscal alone.
India's Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar on Thursday held a bilateral meeting with Mexico Electoral Counselor at India International Conference on Democracy and Election Management, or IICDEM 2026. During this meeting, the Chief Election Commissioner offered the services of ECI Net platform to strengthen and enhance electoral service delivery. Following the meeting, the Mexico Electoral Counselor described the meeting as very productive.
Well, it has been a very amazing experience. I mean, to come to India from the other side of the world. I think this has been a very, not just interesting, but productive meeting. We have the opportunity to listen. For example, yesterday, we had the opportunity to listen many of the concerns that we as electoral management bodies around the world.
With an aim to promote a strong sports culture across the country, the Prime Minister Sansad Khel Mahotsav was inaugurated at LB Stadium in Hyderabad on Thursday. The event was graced by Union Minister for Coal and Mines G. Kishan Reddy, Telangana Governor Jishnu Dev Varma, BJP State President and Ramchandra Rao, and prominent sports personalities including Pulela Gopichand and Saina Nehwal. The event aims to showcase the sporting talent of young athletes from Hyderabad and encourage a culture of fitness. The annual event has witnessed a steady rise in participation. This year, as many as 35,000 players registered to take part in the event. The 15-day long event includes sports like cricket, kabaddi, volleyball, kho-kho, athletics, among others.
पार्लियामेंट्स अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में ऐसे ही क्रीड़ा महोत्सव करके लोगों को मोटिवेट करना, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हो, यूथ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हो, हर गांव का हो, बस्ती में भी हो, सभी लोग इसमें भागीदार होना चाहिए. आज 15 दिन का कार्यक्रम आयोजन किया है. लगभग 35 ग्राउंड्स में कार्यक्रम होगा. आज आदरणीय तेलंगाना गवर्नर शुरुआत किया है. कल से अलग अलग ग्राउंड्स पे जो शेड्यूल है, शेड्यूल के हिसाब से स्पोर्ट्स कंपटीशन कल से शुरू होगा.
Really wonderful that today's Sansad Khels Mahotsav is being organized. It's a great way to encourage sport, and I'm very happy that the government of India under Narendra Modi ji has been really supportive for sport, and these kind of initiative at the grassroots level with the interest of the local ministers or members of parliament is a great initiative. I'm very happy to see such great participation in this event.
While winter sports are still emerging in many parts of the country, athletes from Haryana are breaking stereotypes by winning medals in figure skating at the Khelo India Winter Games. The medal-winning skaters spoke to DD India about their journey in ice skating, international exposure and the facilities provided by the government in an exclusive interaction to DD India correspondent Abhishek Prasad in Leh.
Haryana, traditionally known for doing well in sports like kabaddi and wrestling, is doing good in ice skating also here in the Khelo India Winter Games in Leh. With me is these female figure skaters who have won medals for Haryana. First of all, congratulations to all of you. And Haryana is known for, kabaddi and other sports like wrestling, but you have, won medals in skating, which is very less known of. So how do you, what was the experience here and what inspired you to take the sport of ice skating?
I'd say it was my love for skating, and this experience was unforgettable. Everything was truly exceptional. All the things were well organized and everything was top notch.
Where do you practice and at what stage did you start skating?
I practiced in Haryana, Gurugram, and in 2021 I started figure skating. It wasn't that easy, but still I somehow managed, and now I'm loving the sports.
You people have also, competed at the world level and have won laurels to the country. How is competing at the global level is, and about the competition you have got and the experience you have taken?
Whenever we go abroad, it's very humbling because the rest of the skaters, they practice 16 hours and they're very good. But we also learn from them, and it's a really good experience. We have a lot of exposure, and the government also supports us. The Sports Authority of India actually did a really good job.
Practicing here in Leh, acclimatizing to the conditions, in the sub-zero conditions, how you have managed that here?
I mean, the first 2-3 days were really hard, I'd say. In the competition, the feeling is just different. And no matter how injured you are or how you feel, you just give your 100%. That's what an athlete is.
There you heard from the Haryana figure skater players who were telling about their preparation, their conditions, and how they have managed here to acclimatize to the conditions and bring medals to their respective state. With Jagmohan Pradhan, Abhishek Prasad, DD India, Leh.
The National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, has designed the prestigious at-home invitation for this year's Republic Day reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan, showcasing the rich craft heritage of the northeastern states. Here's a report.
The ceremonial at-home invitation for Republic Day 2026 is more than just an invite. It is a tribute to India's living craft traditions. Designed by the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, the invitation kit highlights the artistry of over 350 artisans from 8 northeastern states of India. Commissioned by Rashtrapati Bhavan, the project brings together traditional crafts from Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura.
Some of them, like this Monpa, Honorable Prime Minister mentioned in his Mann Ki Baat. So, and understanding their process, we developed some small pieces which can go along with the theme, overall theme. And this has been presented once we got the go-ahead, then the mammoth activity started. So, in this case, since it is a Northeast, all the product been done in their respective cluster. Almost more than 350 artisans have been worked in this for 45 days.
Bamboo, a material deeply rooted in the region's ecology and culture, forms the core of the invitation design. From woven bamboo covers and scrolls to handcrafted ornaments and textiles, each element reflects sustainable practices and indigenous knowledge systems. The invitation kit has a unique bamboo wall hanging scroll that unfolds to reveal handcrafted artifacts representing each state.
We are making invitation kit which represent India's craft and culture, which are more than 5,000 years old. And through this one initiative where the invitation kit, the Honorable President Office showed that how government can visualize the invitation kit which represent Bharat, thought process in Bharat, the history of Bharat.
The invitation kit features iconic crafts such as Lepcha nettle weaving from Sikkim, green bamboo weaves from Meghalaya, the Gogona bamboo joha from Assam, cane and bamboo jewelry from Tripura, rare wild fiber textiles from Nagaland, Ponchai hand-woven textiles from Mizoram, and long pea black pottery from Manipur. The project was developed through extensive fieldwork and coordination with remote villages in the northeast.
ये कंचनजंगा माउंटेन का एक रूप है, तो ये लेप्चा कम्युनिटी का एक थॉट प्रोसेस है कि वहाँ पे उनके कंचनजंगा की स्नो से आया हुआ पानी से वो कम्युनिटी बनी हुई है, तो उसका ये एक सिग्निफिकेंस है।
Handloom weaving, central to everyday life in the region and a major source of livelihood for women artisans, is highlighted through a hand-woven textile belt attached to the invitation cover. As India prepares to celebrate its 77th Republic Day, the at-home invitation stands as a tribute to the Ashtalakshmi state.
A showcase of India's northeast, its indigenous craft, tradition, and also a legacy which is completely displayed in this invitation kit, and something also that people who receive this will be cherishing or probably will be seeing it on their walls once they receive these invitation kits. With camera person Lakshman Rajput, this is Meghna Dey for DD India from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on your screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.